You know what the difference between you and me is? I make this look good.
Men in Black, protecting the Earth from the scum of the universe.
Welcome to Durbania. I'm Durbin, and this is my spoiler talk for Men in Black. I'm super excited to dive back into this first movie, which I believe came out in 1997. I was there to see this movie on opening weekend, and I have absolutely loved this movie ever since then. And I haven't seen it in years, so I was so excited when the trailers came out, the announcement came out that there's going to be a fourth Men in Black International with Chris Hemsworth and Tessa Thompson. I am so excited for the next chapter in the MIB, and I'm super excited to dive back in time into some of my favorite movies this week to get pumped for that. So first, let's dive into Men in Black.
I am just a figment of your imagination.
This movie is such a classic, and it's such a classic for so many awesome reasons. I think one of the first reasons that this movie sticks with me and is such gold is the whole key thing in this entire franchise, which is Tommy Lee Jones and Will Smith. I think I remember sometime when I was a kid, I either saw it in an interview or I read it somewhere. Will Smith said when he was making this movie, he learned a lot from Tommy Lee Jones. Because here's this guy delivering some of the most crazy and fantastical lines you could fathom with a straight face.
Yeah, he said the world was coming to an end.
Did he say when?
But when you think about it, that really is the key that makes this movie so great. Yeah, the story's fine and, you know, the aliens are cool. But the thing I think that sold this movie, it was those two put together. Because here you have Will Smith, at this point was like the golden boy. At this point, he could do no wrong. He was at the height and the pinnacle of his career. I mean, this was pre-Wild Wild West. But to have Will Smith and all of his energy and charisma and wild comedic skills.
What? You doing fine, Ace?
Next to Tommy Lee Jones with this straight-laced, straight-faced performance the whole way through. Oh my gosh.
Anything about that seem unusual to you?
You ever have that boss where you can't tell if they're being serious or if they're telling a joke? That is Tommy Lee Jones through this entire thing. At the opening of this movie where Will Smith is chasing that alien through the streets of New York City and then he blinks with two sets of eyelids revealing that he's an alien just before he jumps off the building and Will Smith is like, "What is that?" Well, Tommy Lee Jones walks into the interrogation room where Will Smith was, you know, telling his superiors about it and was such a straight face like it's just common knowledge.
They were gills, not eyelids. Gills. He was out of breath.
Again, so serious. And as you build on that throughout this whole movie and take Will Smithness and combine it with Tommy Lee Jones, it just worked so perfectly, and it's part of what makes this movie so classic. And the other thing that is so cool is that this is the first in the franchise, so this is the origin story. And so it's awesome when you dive into this movie, and I forgot how awesome it was until I revisited it. Because the first movie, you're seeing all of this for the very first time. I mean, who would have ever thought that a galaxy on Orion's belt referred to a tiny little marble that contained an entire galaxy inside of it? Who would have thought as they're walking up to talk to the crazy looking dude who's disguised as a human was horrible, but it turns out that was the real human, and his little pug, Frank, that was the alien!
You don't like it? You can kiss my furry little butt.
It's the discovery of how many aliens live with us, the discovery of all these cool little gadgets like the noisy cricket. Here he is upset, he's got the little gun, and it's like this super powerful weapon. It is so fun to experience it all for the first time with Will Smith, and it's part of what makes it classic. Vincent D'Onofrio is the bug. He is Edgar, who gets his skin ripped off his body, and then the bug wears it. And it's funny, because as a kid, I didn't think about the fact that it was harder and harder for the bug to move in the Edgar suit because the body that he had taken was getting rigor mortis. Like, that is really quite gross and odd to think about as an adult. But watching it through as an adult, I'm like, oh my gosh, Yeah, it's getting harder for this guy to move because his body is getting rigor mortis, and the bug, like there's this scene where the bug is trying to spy on some people, and he pulls up and he's trying to look relaxed, but because of the rigor mortis, it's so freaking hard to put himself in that position where he's relaxing. But as a kid, you don't look at Vincent D'Onofrio and go, oh, that's Vincent D'Onofrio, that's so cool. But now as a grown-up kid, watching him as, you know, Kingpin in the freaking Netflix Daredevil series, and going, oh my gosh, there he is when he's 20 years younger, and he's like the first villain in the MIB series. It's so cool to see that guy, and continue to see that he was a great actor then, and played that role so well, and is a great actor now that he's really only grown and gotten better and gotten even cooler roles. So it's really cool to go back in time. Tobias Funke from Arrested Development. Yeah, he's got a tiny little cameo in this. He's just like in it for a few seconds, and then he, you know, gets killed by the bug before somehow he plays a different character in MIB 2. But we'll get there when we get there. The movie is so much fun, on top of the fact that I think it has a good story with a good heart to it. The idea that things aren't always what they seem, an entire galaxy fitting inside of a small marble, that size has nothing to do with how valuable or how precious something is. What do we even know? So it's a fun movie and an entertaining movie on so many levels. I'm gonna give it an A-. If you haven't seen it in ages, go back and revisit it this week before you go see MIB 4. I'm not sure if you need these movies to understand MIB 4. You might not, but it's worth it. It's worth it to go back in time and see where this new movie comes from and what is bringing this new movie to life. And then let's talk in the comments. What did you think of Men in Black? While you're there, hit that subscribe button to become a Durbanian. Hit the bell by the subscribe button so you're notified for my next movie review, like my MIB 2 review, my MIB 3 review, my Men in Black International review. Hit the bell and then you'll be notified when all of those reviews drop. I'm Durbin. Thanks for checking out Durbania.